Hi, welcome to the first video in a mini-series called Almanac of PC Role-Playing Games. This series will focus much less on each title, highlighting the story and important genre advancements only for hopefully all commercial RPGs that released on PC. Each game will get roughly a minute of screen time, and if you want to learn more about any of these, seek them out in my other series, in which they are covered in detail. So, without further ado, let's check them out. The Wizard's Castle is arguably the very first DOS RPG based on a despised by me text parser mechanic. A powerful wizard Zod forged the Orb of Power, a mythical and immensely powerful magic artifact. As soon as he did, he vanished, leaving it behind in his castle, filled to the brim with monsters, traps and treasures. You play a role of an adventurer who takes on the quest of obtaining said orb and heads off to the castle to face anything it may throw at you. Ultima II was a bigger and better title than the original. It featured larger town maps and a cool concept of traveling through time gates into different eras on Earth, effectively making it a four-dimensional game, so to speak. Story-wise, an evil witch Minax, a pupil of previous game villains Mundane, traveled back in time and changed the future so drastically that the world seemed to be doomed. So, you are sent to the past through recently discovered time gates to find Minax and defeat her. Rogue, by its sheer existence, created a whole subgenre of RPGs, so-called roguelikes. Games that see singular protagonists seeking some kind of a big whoop or a mythical artifact, navigating a dungeon of sorts, usually randomized, and battling it out with hundreds of monsters and enemies using wide selection of weapons and magic spells. All in a beautiful text mode graphics. And yeah, I mean it, I found those ASCII monsters enchanting back in the day. In original Rogue, you're exploring a mysterious dungeon of doom in search for the precious amulet of Yendor. Ultima III Exodus is the last part in the so-called Age of Darkness trilogy. It takes place 20 years after you defeated Minax in Ultima II, and much worse evil is about to bring doom to the land of Caesarea. Exodus, a half-demon half-computer created by the Minax and her former mentor Mundane, laid quietly collecting data on how to get control of the kingdom. Now, as it regained consciousness, it awoken ready to do it. In Ultima III you do not lead a single hero anymore, but a small group of up to 4 adventurers, all to save Caesarea. Starflight is excellent. It's a sandbox space exploration, trading and combat game. mixed in equal amounts and devilishly addictive. It's kinda like Star Trek, cause you theoretically had no set path to follow, meaning you could divide your time freely between mining, combat and alien diplomacy. As you play more and more, however, an overarching plot will start to slowly emerge and you'll discover that there was once an ancient advanced race of interstellar beings. And now, they came back and for whatever the reason are causing stars to flare, destroying all living creatures in their vicinities. Wizard's Crown is a fantasy RPG in which you lead a party of up to 8 adventurers on a quest to retrieve magical crown from Wizard Tarmon, who's been hiding in his laboratory for the last 500 years. Combat is tactical and turn-based, featuring unique weapons, shields that work only in the direction that they're facing, and experience gained that can be spent on skills, attributes and life points. There are 5 classes of Thief, Ranger, Priest, Fighter and Sorcerer in Wizard's Crown, and they can be combined with one another, but they're not picked but purchased for intelligence points. Secret of the Inner Sanctum is the first in Might and Magic series of RPGs and tells the tale of a group of 6 adventurers on a quest to find the real king of one of the kingdoms of Varn and prove that the one leading in his stead is in fact a space-traveling impostor, in the process revealing the truth about world's origin. The game is played in first person and features various towns, dungeons and overworld areas. There are 6 classes to pick between: Knight, Robber, Sorcerer, Cleric, Paladin and Archer, and 5 races of human, elves, dwarves, gnomes and half-orcs. Ultima I: The First Age of Darkness is a remake of 1981's Apple II's classic, and first in the series of cult RPGs by now legendary Richard Garriott. Evil Wizard Mundane, a creator and owner of a magical evil gem granting him invincibility and immortality, a deadly combo indeed, plans on dominating the world of Sosaria. You play as an unnamed yet stranger, future series avatar, and must find a time machine to go back in time before the gem was created and destroy Mundane then and there. In Tales of the Unknown Volume 1 The Bard's Tale, you create a party of 6 adventurers from a selection of staple RPG classes of Hunter, Monk, Paladin, Rogue, Warrior, Conjurer, Magician, and a Bard. The town of Scarabra has been invaded by an army of monsters sent by an evil wizard Mangar the Dark. The guards disappeared and it's only you to save the town from the terror. Bard's Tale is one of the first computer RPGs to use buffs in form of bard songs to improve party's performance. It features turn-based combat, numerous dungeons and first-person viewpoint. Nethack is a roguelike in which you must head off deep into a dungeon to recover the mythical amulet of Yendor and then sacrifice it to your deity. Roguelikes are these particular RPGs that don't require deep story or lore and can get away with something superficial, as long as they can defend themselves with gameplay, and Nethack can. There are numerous classes to pick from, and some of them, like Tourist or a Caveman, are very unique. The view naturally is top-down, and all items, enemies, characters and monsters are represented by the ASCII characters. Sid Meier's Pirates is an action-adventure RPG with bits and pieces of pirate fleet management and some superficial strategy overtones. It's a game where you can follow the plot, or ignore it entirely and live out your best pirate life. So, you'll be swashbuckling, treasure hunting, defeating forts, capturing cities and sinking fleets worth of ships, all in the pursuit of the big whoop, or your long-lost family, you pick. Think that's all? Not even close. You can get married, trade and even forfeit the lawless life entirely. It's also my personal mixed genre pick for this video. Many years after defeating Mundane, land of Caesarea was transformed, continents rose and sank, and new cities were built on the ruins of old. The new kingdom was renamed Britannia, and was ruled by the honourable and peace-loving Lord British. He ruled by principles of truth, courage and love, and proclaimed that whomever masters the 8 virtues would serve as a spiritual leader and moral compass for all of Britannia. Your goal is not to defeat the villain, not to save someone or become the most powerful, but to reach the highest level of understanding in all of the virtues and gain Codex of Ultimate Wisdom. Phantasie is one of the unsung and underappreciated gems of classic RPG. It originated on C64 in 1985, making it one of the first games in the genre on computers. The beautiful island Gelnor has been taken over by the evil Black Knights, who demand sacrifices traveling from town to town. Your task is to build a party of adventurers and eventually defeat the invaders and their leader Nicodemus. But the game is pretty much open from the start, so you don't have to aim for it straight away. It features many towns, overworld and dungeon gameplay, tons of monsters and enemies, and interesting puzzles galore. Pool of Radiance is SSI's first-person party-based RPG with tactical top-down turn-based combat set in Forgotten Realms universe, also a founding title in the so-called Goldbox series of games. It features 4 classes of fighter, cleric, wizard and thief, and 6 races: human, elf, dwarf, gnome, halfling and half-elf. The story sees you and your party of hardy adventurers fighting to free the unfortunately named city of Flan from monsters roaming it and causing chaos, all for the glory, and even more so, riches. Bard's Tale 2: The Destiny Knight is a party-based RPG and a largely expanded follow-up to the first game. It features large explorable wilderness, 6 cities, multiple dungeons, banks, casinos, and a new magic user class, an Archmage. You can also now attack enemies at range and summon multiple creatures to join you. After defeating Mangar the Dark, you now have to find and reassemble Destiny 1 that's been split into 7 pieces by an evil Archmage, Lag of Zanta, and then defeat him. Sentinel Worlds 1 Future Magic is an open-ended sci-fi non-linear RPG, and you'll be flying between the planets and space station, meeting NPCs, seeking story clues, exploring, mining, trading, buying weapons and ammo, upgrading your ship and adventuring. Oh, and also fighting on ground and in space. All to find and figure out who and where were the mysterious space raiders that are terrorizing law-abiding space citizens of the Kaldor star system. Unfortunately, the game featured a paragraph booklet with large snippets of the story that also acted as an annoying analog copy protection. In Ultima 5, you're once again Avatar, and you have to save Lord British, and by doing so, Britannia as well. The kingdom is overtaken and ruled by a ruthless tyrant Blackthorn, who enforces previously mastered by you virtues on the populace, corrupting their meaning in the process and effectively creating a fantasy police state. And in this new Britannia, adhering to the virtues is punishable by death. While Ultima 5 uses the same engine as 4, it's been considerably expanded, adding bigger cities, deeper dialogue trees, day and night cycle, and many other cool things. Drakkhen is one of the first real-time RPGs with full 3D world. The engine uses mix of 3D vectors and 2D sprites, which was a novel concept and sorta mid-step between full 3D and still popular back then 2D graphics. The world, for better or worse, is entirely open from the get-go and all the battles play out automatically, though you can micromanage the hell out of them. Story-wise, your group of adventurers works hard to solve the so-called Puzzle of Tears, all to prevent the invasion of the Drakkhen, dragons prophesized to conquer and rule the world. Demon's Winter is a follow-up to Shard of Spring, which I somehow failed to mention here. But the land of Wire Moss in which it takes place again is 32 times larger than in the original. You create and lead a party of 6 adventurers composed out of a mix of 10 different classes, each having their own usage scenarios, and finding a good mix is a key to success. With your heroes, you'll need to stop evil Malifon from bringing internal winter to the land. There's a lot of different skills for each of the classes, and the magic system uses runes. Wasteland is a post-apocalyptic role-playing game set in California after World War III nuclear holocaust. You're in control of a band of desert rangers traversing from town to town and gradually uncovering a sinister plot threatening the survival of the little that's left of mankind. At start, you can either create a whole party of characters or just your main one and recruit companions along your travels from inhabitants of the titular Wasteland. The game world is viewed from top-down perspective, and all the combat encounters are turn-based. Might and Magic 2: Gates to Another World is a sequel to the previous title. You start the game by creating a party of 6 characters, mixing genre-standard races and classes. Other than the robber, it's totally not a standard class. There are many locations and items in-game that are restricted to certain genders, alignments or races, so it's worth to keep that in mind. You can also hire up to 2 additional characters mid-game for a total of 8. A space traveler and rogue guardian Sheltem is trying to use his powers to cast the planet straight into the sun, and it's only your party of brave souls that can stop him. The Magic Candle is a fantasy-themed top-down party-driven turn-based RPG. It features a huge world to explore, complex and non-linear gameplay, and party of ever-growing in power adventurers who you'll get to lead. Story-wise, you're tasked with sealing the demon Drakkhen within the titular Magic Candle, which is burning down, and if it does before you manage to complete your mission, he will be released and will spread chaos and destruction upon the world. The Vanished Omens is the first in the long-running series of RPG games. You play as adult Christine, a red-haired hero and a master swordsman who on one of his adventures encounters a mysterious fortune teller that sends him on a quest of finding information about 6 so-called books of Is. Soon enough, you'll learn that they were stolen by the evil wizard Drakkhen, which is also just a fact in a game's lore, and you'll have to find and defeat him to discover the secret hidden in the books. Curse of the Azure Bonds is a sequel to Pool of Radiance. The exploration takes place in pseudo-3D first-person view, combat encounters are top-down and turn-based, and you can control all characters separately and not as a singular unit like in Traversal. Curse comes with 2 new classes, of Paladin and Ranger, ability to dual class for humans and higher level for magic users, allowing them to use 5th level AD&D spells. After your characters have been ambushed outside of Tilverton and cursed with Azure markings called Bonds, they have to search for the source of the curse and free themselves of it. Starflight 2 Trade Routes of the Cloud Nebula is a space sandbox exploration, trading and combat game. It starts a bit after where the first game ended, and it improves on everything its predecessor did well. So size, star systems, graphics, alien races and artifacts among others. Formerly weak alien spamins are now a powerful space empire bent on conquering the universe. You have to discover and obtain the fuel known as Shine Humant that accelerated spamins' rise to intergalactic stardom, all to stop them in their tracks and prevent their growing aggression and hunger for power. Mars Saga is a turn-based tactical RPG taking place in 2261, when humans have long been colonizing the inner solar system and are about to finish terraforming Titan, Saturn's largest moon. Due to unforeseen event you crash land on it, and with no means of transport or money, you must find a way to get off this godforsaken rock. So, to raise funds, you must search for and recruit characters to your party to explore and survive in the unforgiving world of Titan. Combat is very tactical and relies on many skills, yours and your opponent alike. If you liked the video, hit those like and subscribe buttons below, and maybe share it too. It helps more than you know. If you didn't, then don't naturally. It was fun talking to you as usual, and I'll see you, or more accurately, talk to you very soon.